My name is Raeshal Solomon, and I am an author, a speaker, and a financial teacher. This first video is really just going to be me talking about my story. I saw a video today from Gary Vee, and depending on when you were watching this, he's who he is, multimillionaire type, businessman, successful, blase, blase, blase. You can Google him or you can look him up online, whatever you want to say. So I am an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a financial teacher. But 5 years ago, I wasn't any of those things. 5 years ago, I was broke, living below check to check, like not even check to check. I was pregnant. I was homeless, not homeless living under a bridge homeless, but homeless living couch to couch homeless. I was unemployed. I had a car. I did own my car. So I guess technically you could say I lived out of my car, even though I wasn't parked in, the Walmart parking lot or, the local hotel or grocery store or whatever. What else? I was $400,000 in debt. I owned a house at the time. Yeah, I know you're like, you were homeless, but you owned a house. Yeah, I had owned that house for, at the time, 7 years. And I had rented it out because I couldn't afford to pay the mortgage. I had just gotten a really good job. But even with the job, I couldn't afford the house because, as my mom would say, I kept letting strays live with me. So, people who are worse off than you, or they think they're worse off than you, and they need your help to get their situation straightened. And you call yourself a nice person, or you call yourself a Christian, or you have a persona of success even though you're not successful. One of those people. Yeah, I was one of those people. And I had all these strays, 2 or 3 of them living with me, pretty much rent free, and they wasn't contributing to any bills, and I was struggling to pay a mortgage. So finally I was just like, I'm going to rent this house out. I can't afford it. Everybody get out. So everybody got out, including me. I moved closer to the great job I had just got. Found a family, nice family. They rented the house out. You ever met really nice people who don't or can't pay the rent on time, but they're really, really nice and sweet? Yeah, so that was my tenants for the 3 years. They were really nice. They were sweet. But every month they paid the rent late, and every month they didn't pay any of the late fees, and every month I let them. So here I am, fast forward 3 years later. I've owned the house for 10 years, and I'm all that other stuff I told you. And I know you're thinking like, well, you could have just kicked them out. And well, why was you trying to be so nice? And blase, blase, blase. Why would I kick them out? I couldn't afford the rent either. I couldn't afford the mortgage. I let them move into the house with less than the mortgage. So their rent was $1,000. My mortgage was $1,500. But at the time when I rented it out, I just needed to get out. So I did what I had to do. And I just paid the difference every month. For me, paying the difference was cheaper than paying the home mortgage because I had found a place and I had got rent. And my rent plus the difference was still cheaper than the mortgage. So it worked. Then I met a guy. We dated kind of for 8 months, 9 months. I don't know. Got pregnant. Didn't find out I was pregnant though until like 12 months because I was like 2 or 3 weeks away from being 4 months pregnant when I found out I was pregnant. And then told him he didn't want to have nothing to do with it, nothing to do with me, nothing to do with the baby at the time. And then I have sickle cell, which is a blood disorder. And it's hard to be pregnant and have sickle cell. It's very hard. Had a high-risk pregnancy, so I had to quit my job. The doctors was just like, pick your job or your kid. I picked my kid, obviously. So I quit my job. So now I have an apartment I can't afford, so I have to move out. I have a house with a mortgage I can't afford. I have no job. And I'm pregnant. That was the beginning of my story. Now, that was 5 years ago. So, when I started that story, 2012, I had the kid, and he's amazing. I lived with my mom for a little while until I could get on my feet again. I think I did that for like 6 months. So by the time the baby was 3 months old, I was getting myself an apartment. So got an apartment. The baby was 3 months old, and I was just maintaining. It wasn't really thriving like I had in the past. And when my son turned 9 months, I got a really, really emotional call from a creditor. And it pushed me over the edge, like tears. I was just devastated on so many levels. I was angry, like furious, like just mad at the world, angry. And I was scared for my kids, or my kid at the time, that I, wasn't going to be able to provide. I couldn't afford formula. I couldn't afford the light bill, so I breastfed. Like, I breastfed because I couldn't afford formula. And then, because of my illness, the sickle cell, I qualified for Social Security. I did, because I had worked in the past, and I did get the money, but come on, Social Security is supposed to be a sub income. It's supposed to go with something else. So, it was just hard. I don't know. I don't know how I did it, honestly. Because today, here it is, 4 years later, and I'm down to my last $40,000 in debt. And I think about the hard decisions I had to make. I had to make some really, truly hard decisions. I'll give you an example. This house. I love this house. I bought that house when I was 26. I was so proud of it. Look at me. Look what I have accomplished. I sold it. I was like, I just got real with myself one day. Like, you can't afford it. Your renters don't even pay the whole rent, the whole mortgage. I mean, they never pay on time. Just get rid of it. It's heavy. It weighs you down emotionally. It weighs you down physically. It weighs you down mentally. Just get rid of it. So I did. I got rid of it. And then a little vine whispered in my ear that I could get rid of my student loans because, oh, you have a permanent issue, a permanent health issue. You qualify. It's a long process, but you qualify to get rid of your loans. So I went and found out that my research on that, and I qualified. It's a 3-year process, or it was a 3-year process. The end of my 3 years is in about a week. So in about a week, I won't have $95,000 in student loans anymore to worry about. So that was 2 of my debts. Those actually was the 2 biggest debts. And so I know if you're doing the math, you're like, well, that's already like it's already 240,000. I'm like, yeah, it is, but I got over almost 350,000, right? So I paid some. I negotiated. I had to learn the art of negotiation. And when I tell you that thing is not easy, it's so emotional. Selling my house was like, even now, it's been 3 years. And sometimes I'm like, dang, did I make the right decision? My kids never got the opportunity to live in that house. Like, they could be, thriving in that environment right now. Then another part of me is like, girl, you can get another house later. You'll be all right. Oh, Lord. Yeah, but the art of negotiations, that thing is hard. I cry. I mean, I'm not a big crier anymore. I kind of have cried my last tear, if you will. But in the beginning, it was so hard. Those people just talk to you any old kind of way, like you're an animal or you not who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you're royalty. You have value. You're important. There's people out there that love you. You're special. But they talk to you like any old thing. Like you just any old body. Like you're not important. I do not like that. Got to the point where I knew they was writing notes about me because every time I got a person, they would be like, hi, how you doing today? Yes, ma'am, nice to talk to you. How can I help you today? Because anything below respect and great customer service, they got hung up on. Or I started talking to them the way they was talking to me. They don't really like that too much. So I learned the art of negotiation. And that helped me get a lot of the bills down because a lot of those bills was medical bills for me because I told you I have the health issue and I don't really qualify for an affordable insurance plan. So, and the hospitals also have their hoops you can jump to waive some of the bills that you owe them if you qualify. How they, figure out if you qualify is by your income level versus your family versus the amount of the bill. I don't know, they have some kind of formula and they throw you in the formula and then either you qualify or you don't. But honestly, it's worth the ask. If you don't ask, you won't find out. So, yeah, ask. Ask your local hospital, ask your local doctor's office how, you can work together to get rid of a bill or lower it to a more affordable rate for you and your family. Even if it's something that they've already sent to collections, some stuff they'll take back and they'll just waive it if you qualify. But once again, you have to ask. And then after that, you just have to plan and pay. You just have to plan and pay. Put your head down and plan and pay. It's crazy though because now I'm thinking about buying another house again and I only got 2 debts left. I'm at about 40,000 in debts left. And I have a credit person looking at my credit score. Because when I paid off all that stuff, it plummeted. It came back up, though. It's not horrible at all. But they're like, you shouldn't have paid any of that stuff. You shouldn't have paid any of your creditors. You shouldn't have. I'm like, but at the time when I was paying, I was trying to be debt free. I wasn't trying to have good credit. So if you're trying to have good credit, that is not going to go well with trying to be debt free. Those two things don't like each other at all. So keep that in mind. Choose which one you want to do. Do you want to have good credit or do you want to be debt free? And then go from there. Because a lot of the debts that I paid off, they're just on my score. Like, I mean, they're just there. I can't get them taken off until the 7 years. They have to just kind of drop off. But I can't actually get them to waive it or remove it because I didn't think to negotiate that part when I was paying them off. Like, you can negotiate, hey, after this balance is paid off, I don't want you to say paid. I want you to completely remove it from my credit. And then you can do that when you're paying it. But once they get their money, they don't really care too much about trying to negotiate with you. Like, why? They already got their money. They got what they was going to get and they done with you. You see what I'm saying? So then I have to wait. So I'm still going to send the letters anyway, just to see who might have a kind heart and just remove some stuff from my credit. But if not, some of that stuff is just going to be there for that whole 7 years. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm just going to keep working and doing my part. It's weird now because it was like I was able to get rid of so much so quickly. And now I feel frustrated and tired. Like, I'm just tired. It's like, wow, why am I still working on this? And I kind of slowed it down, honestly, because I started doing stuff that I wasn't doing when I was really focused on it. Like taking trips. Now I have kids and they're old enough to comprehend and understand. So, I can't get away with no birthday parties or I can't get away with no Christmas gifts. So I don't do no, but I do a limit. And I think the limit is kind of to show them to appreciate things and as well to help me and, financially. So now I have this business called My Little Banker where I teach financial literacy to kids. And it's weird because I know the importance of teaching kids about money. I feel like that was my biggest downfall, was that not that I didn't make a lot of money, because when I was working, I made a lot of money. It was just that I didn't know what to do with the money once I made it. I didn't know how to manage it. So it ended up just being, really, really ugly, I guess. I ended up having so much debt. And, when I purchased stuff, I never thought about if I could afford the item. I just thought about, can I afford the payment? If I could afford the payment, then I could afford it. And then I just got it. And never thinking that, one day I would be living check to check. Now I tell people I live check to check on purpose. And for the most part, that's true. But being an entrepreneur is hard because it's a roller coaster of income. Like, one month I might sell, 1,000 books. The next month I might sell 100. And then I have to decide in the months when I sell 1,000 what to do so that I have money on the months where I only sell 100. And so as an adult, I feel great giving advice to kids about financial literacy. But honestly, sometimes I also feel like a hypocrite because I'm not a multimillionaire yet. I mean, granted, I'm going that way. And I feel like people are going to resonate with my story. And, I feel like I'm confident. Like, I know that I'm going to do this and I can do this. But sometimes it's it's just long. It's just hard. And you're supposed to enjoy the process and respect the process. And just know that everything happens for a reason. So that's really what I'm doing now. And so, like I said, I'm going to just start documenting my process. And I'm going to come on here every day and I'm going to record. And not all the videos are going to be this long. Some of them may only be 2 or 3 minutes. I'm just going to record. I'm going to post it on online. Whoever finds it is supposed to find it. And whoever watch until this long is supposed to watch until this long. Because maybe something I'm saying is connecting with them and whatever they're going through. And I hope that me sharing this story, my past story, and all my future stories will help you go through what you're going through, as well as give you some advice. Like, my intentions is not to teach, but I am a teacher because I'm passionate about this subject. So you're probably going to end up getting some tips and tricks and hacks because that's just who I am in this space. Like, I eat, sleep, and breathe financial literacy and change and uplifting and empowerment and love and family. And so I really think that that's what I just want this to be. I just want this to be, beneficial. And I'll be doing a lot of venting here. So, so if you don't want to be bothered with somebody in their roller coaster emotions, then I understand if you go somewhere else. Thank you for watching. Especially if you've watched this far, that means you've invested some true, serious time. And that's all I have to say. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.